Hey, let me ask you a question. If you ever had one of those near-death experiences, you know what I'm talking about, right? The moment when you thought, okay, this really isn't going to end that well. You see, I grew up by the ocean, and this one particular day when I was a younger teenager, hanging out with my friends, and we know hanging out with our friends, it's fun, right? And we have a good time. But this one particular day, just hanging out with my friends, we kind of got, what's the word, bored. So we decided that we were going to very simply borrow this boat. Okay, no, not this big boat. It wasn't a yacht or anything. It was just this little small flat bottom boat. And my friends and I decided that we would borrow this boat and we would just kind of, row out into the harbor and just kind of goof off a little bit and have some fun. It was a beautiful day. I mean, it was a nice sunny day. It was a little windy, which we didn't really think about. So we get in this boat. Oh, hold on, let me tell you one thing. I don't know how to row, okay? So to me, it was a pleasure ride. But my friends knew how to row. Anyway, so we were there and we took the boat and we started getting further and further out into this harbor. And then we had this idea, hey, why don't we go into deeper water, go around this point, and it could just be more adventurous, because that's what we liked. But what we didn't realize is that when we got out of the safety of this harbor and got around this point, the wind picked up. And very quickly we realized that this little boat that we were in wasn't made for these waves. So very quickly, a really nice day turned into a very scary day. So, like I said, this boat was not designed for these waves. Remember, this is a small boat. Remember, this is a flat bottom boat, not designed for waves. So here we are, inexperienced, in a borrowed boat, and waves that are literally crashing over us. It was the scariest moment of my life. Probably one of the reasons why I still don't like swimming in the ocean. Anyway, that's another story. But we were rowing and we were trying to control this boat, but the wind was too strong, the waves were too big, and it kept pushing us further and further away from the safety of the harbor. It was pretty traumatic for a group of young teenagers. So we knew we had to get to safety. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that the boat would literally go down between these waves and we could look up and all we could see is water, and then to rise on top of a wave and then be able to see where we needed to go, the safety of the harbor. If I could be truthful with you, I didn't think we were going to make it. At one point, one of my more confident friends, he said, hey, why don't we just jump out of the boat and swim towards the shore? But I realized in that moment, that boat was our lifeline. If we had left the safety of that boat, there was no guarantee we would have made it. Now, I'm telling the story, so obviously we made it. But it was one of those moments that I just found myself in a situation that I was like, wow, it could be over right now. It could be done. But my friends and I, we put together a plan. You see, we had two guys and they were just rowing. Me, remember, the non-rowing guy, I had this bucket and all I could do was just continue to keep water out of this boat. And eventually, through a lot of, praying and a lot of work, we made it back in around the point into the safety of the harbor. What a relief. I mean, all of us, all we could do was like, oh, and we were tired and we were exhausted. And eventually we got to the shore and we were like, survival mode. Well, that's until my parents found out that we borrowed someone else's boat. Wow, that day got real fast. And yeah, sure, I look back at it now and I laugh because I cannot believe that my friends and I put ourselves in that predicament. But you know what? We got through it and it was great. But now I look back at it and I realize that, man, in that moment, my friends and I, we really pulled together and we survived. But in that moment, what we did is that we were there for each other. Because we knew if we didn't do what we needed to do for each other, we probably weren't going to make it. And I think about that, and I think about the value and the importance of having great friends in our lives. Because if I can be honest with you, I believe that other than Jesus, our friends are some of the biggest lifelines that we need to hold on to. Okay, students, let's go there. Let's talk about the most important people in our lives. Yeah, not our families, even though they are the most important people in our lives, but what about those other people? You know who I'm talking about, your friends. I mean, isn't it great to have friends and people that, they're there for us, that's cheering for us, that we hang out with and have a good time with? But the truth of the matter is, sometimes, we can have these bad friend experiences. They're not fun. And maybe that's you right now and you're going through a bad friend experience, and I'm really sorry that you're going through that. But I want to talk about today, how to be the ultimate friend for your friends, okay? How to be a lifeline for your friends. And the greatest model that we have for this is Jesus. So let me tell you about how Jesus helps us to be a great friend to our friends. And that's what this series is all about, being an ultimate friend. I am pretty blessed to have some amazing friends in my life and friends all around the world. And I love and appreciate each and every one of them. So let me start. First of all, I married my best friend. Shout out to you, Sharon. And I also work with an amazing group of friends at Hillside. And I also have this incredible group of friends in Hillside Student Ministries. And let me just let you guys know, I miss and love each and every one of you. But then again, you know that because I tell you all the time. But I got this one friend. Man, wow. We've had so much fun together. I mean, we have traveled together. We've had adventures together. It's been so great. And we have laughed. Man, have we laughed together. And stories that we can tell, unbelievable. But this friend, he's the closest I got to a brother. And this guy, he has seen me at my best. Yeah, he has seen me at my highest points in my life, but he's also seen me at my worst. He has celebrated with me, and he's also grieved with me. He's the friend that I could call at any time and say, I need you, and he's there, or I need to talk, and he's going to listen. He's a real friend. He's also a friend that I can be real with. I don't have to pretend to be something I'm not. I can be vulnerable. I can be authentic with him. Then again, he sees right through me because he knows me so well. And sometimes that frustrates me. But he's such a great friend. And you know what? We need friends like that in our lives. Being real, really real with people, it can be scary. I'll be honest with you, I don't like being vulnerable in front of people. And I really am guarded sometimes. And there are times in my life when I really don't want people to know me as I know me. Let's think about it for a second. If people really knew the real you, come on. If people really knew the real you, would they still really love you? You know what I'm talking about, the real you. The real you that when you're home, you're nasty and mean to your parents. You're a jerk to your brothers and sisters. That real you? How about the real you that's secretly addicted to pornography? How about the real you that harms yourself when no one's looking? How about the real you that went too far on that date and now you are living with regret and shame? How about the real you that's struggling with your faith right now and you're just pretending that you're all good? How about the real you that cries themselves to sleep at night because you're not happy with who you are and you wish you weren't even here? Hey, it really doesn't matter who we are or what we've done or what we have said or what we've tried to hide. We're all the same. We all want to be loved and accepted for who we are. And that's what real friendship should be, a place where we can be real. But the sad thing is, not all friendships are that safe. So what I want to do in this series is I want to unpack a few times when Jesus was the ultimate friend when people needed him the most. And hopefully through this, we can learn a few examples along the way on what it means for us to be the friend that people really need from us. Okay, so let's dive into one of those times when Jesus stepped up and he was a friend to someone who really needed him. And the event is recorded in the pages of history found in Luke chapter 7. And Jesus is in that point of his life where he is pretty popular and people want to be around him. Why? Because they really liked him and he is super friendly, he was compassionate. And so this one particular day, he was at this guy's house for dinner. And all of a sudden, this lady walks in, interrupts the entire meal, totally uninvited. And it says that all of a sudden, she just went to Jesus and she really didn't say anything with words, but rather with tears. And she started to cry. And she cried and she cried. And everyone else around, they started judging her. Like, what is she doing? She's not invited here. She's not a very nice person. Actually, the text says that they called her a sinful woman. That's kind of mean. What did Jesus do? I love this. See, Jesus, he just went to this lady and he gave her what she needed most. And I love in that moment, he didn't judge her. He wasn't mean to her. He didn't criticize her. He didn't put her down, but rather instead, he restored her. And it says that Jesus, in that moment, he turned to the woman and he said to her, he said, I'll tell you this, your sins have been forgiven. In that moment, he restored her. He gave her value. He gave her hope once again. She was so changed by her encounter with Jesus. She was totally real, and Jesus showed her love, and it changed her life. And this is what we need to get in our friendships. We need to allow the people in our lives just to be totally real, and that they need to understand that because we follow Jesus, because we want to be like Jesus, because we want to live Jesus out loud, so that when your friends come to you, they should be able to come to you and be real. They should be able to let the real them out. They should be able to say, hey, look at me right now. I made a mistake. I messed up. And as a real friend who loves Jesus, we shouldn't criticize them, push them away, or tell them that, hey, you need to smarten up and do better, even though you may want to say that. But instead, we need to be like Jesus to our friends. And we need to restore them. And we need to still love them no matter what. And we need to let them know that there is hope because of Jesus. That's what we need to do. Listen to this. See, Jesus, right, gave this woman a gift, the gift of friendship. And Jesus does that for us. Jesus offers you and I this incredible gift of friendship. Come on, Jesus forgave us. Jesus embraced the messiness of us, and he restored us. Should we not extend that same level of grace to others? That's what we should do. That's what Jesus did. Our friends should be able to come to us and be real with us and know that we will love them no matter what. Okay, you may be wondering, Roger, why do I have to be that type of friend to my friend? Come on, Roger, what happens when my friend messes up? When they make a terrible mistake? What do I do when they hurt me? Because sometimes we can push our friends away. But what Jesus did in this moment was so powerful, and he's asking us to do the same. Listen, look at this. Ephesians chapter 5, verses 1 and 2, it says, imitate God, therefore, therefore, in everything you do. Now remember, we said Jesus is God. And if we want to be imitators of God, Jesus is our example. So we look to how Jesus lived his life. We look to how Jesus responded to situations and what he did, and we follow his example. So listen, imitate God, therefore, in everything you do. Why? Because you are his dear children. And then it says this, I love this part. Live a life filled with love, following the example of Christ. Listen, I get it. Sometimes it's hard for us to be real with people and still hoping that they will love us and accept us. But what about the people that come into our lives? When our friends, when they just need to be real with us? I believe one of the greatest things that we can do as Christians is allow people to be real with us, knowing that we will love them anyway. Do we agree with what they have done and what they've said? Probably not. But we can still imitate Christ like the Bible teaches us and restore our friends even in the most messiest parts of their lives. And I want to give you 3 ways to do that. Being a friend, especially a good friend, it's going to take some hard work. And if you want to be a friend that takes the example of Jesus, that's even going to be harder, okay? So remember, I told you I was going to give you 3 things that you could put into practice this week to up your game and be a better friend. So here we go. You ready for this? Because here's number 1. Number 1, you got to quit your judgment. Look what Jesus did. When that lady showed up in the worst moments of her life, Jesus cared about her. He didn't judge her. He didn't criticize her, and we need to do the same. So if you want to be a great friend and to have great friends, quiet your judgment. Choose to listen and care. It's so important. And be like Jesus. You know? Number 2, okay, so we quiet the judgment. Number 2, know who you are. In that moment, Jesus knew he could help her. And you need to know, because you have Jesus in you, you can help your friends in the messiest moments of their lives. If you want to be a great friend and have great friends, know who you are as a child of God and give that hope to your friends who need it the most. And number 3, be real and invite real. Okay? Just be real with your friends. You know, let them see the real you. Because if they see that you're being real with them, hopefully they can feel comfortable enough to be real around you. They can just let you know that they're struggling with their relationships at home. That, you know what, their date didn't go as well as they expected to. You know, that they're struggling with what they're watching on the computer. You know, that as you are real, your friends can be real with you. So let me recap. Quit the judgment. Know who you are as a child of God. Be real and invite real. I mean, this kind of friendship, Jesus offers that to us. Jesus doesn't judge us. Jesus is real with us, and he invites us to be real with him. And we need to do the same with our friends. We can do this. So you know what? Hey, let me be real with you. Sometimes we just got to just love back. And I know sometimes we get mad and we get angry and we get frustrated with our friends for what they do and what they've said. But sometimes we just gotta, you know, sit, listen, and say to our friends who are struggling, who are hurting, say, hey, how can I help you? And then in your heart and in your mind, say, hey God, as you help me to help my friends. Hey God, as you're real with me, help me be real with my friends. Hey God, as I live my life out loud for you, let me bring hope to those around me, especially my friends, because they need it. Hey, you got this. I believe in you. So let's step up and let's be the friends to our friends that God is calling us to be. Until next time.